Welcome to the Canna-Coin Podcast with Nicole. I am so excited that you guys are here with me today. This is where we discuss wealth and wellness in the cannabis industry. And whether you are a budding entrepreneur, if you are canna curious, or just an advocate of the space, we want to destigmatize the plant. We want to talk about its benefits aside from the recreational flavor, because we love a little Mary Jane. Nothing wrong. But there's so much more about this plant that we want you to know. And so, as you know, we always start our show with the hot topic. And today's hot topic is going to really introduce what today's episode is all about. So let's first talk about the endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system is a system that only 3 species of, life share. We have mammals that have an endocannabinoid system, which includes pets. So you have people, you have pets, and you have cannabis. That's what we have in common with the plant, guys. Everybody. Even those of you who turn your nose up when you smell it, like we walk past you, you smell our beautiful floral fragrance. You turn your nose up because you like, ew, they smell like weed. Yeah, you got one of those endocannabinoid systems too. I just want to let you know that. So what's so dope is that so many pet moms and pet dads don't realize how they can help their own pet children gain more just calmness and really reset their own endocannabinoid system through CBD. And so I wanted to just share that with you. The endocannabinoid system are a system or network of receptors that literally go from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. Thousands of receptors that go throughout our body that help to balance and manage a variety of systems so that we can function properly. And with this endocannabinoid system, sometimes with aging, with life, with sickness, and all of that, it doesn't function as great as it normally does to help prevent disease, prevent sickness, prevent any sort of imbalances. And so when you administer CBD from hemp specifically, but any other types of CBD, because obviously the cannabinoid plant or the cannabis plant has marijuana-based CBD as well, then you're also able to really trigger and balance that endocannabinoid system, and pets truly benefit from that. When I was in commercial real estate and we would build condos, we would always have to think about the scratching on the doors, because as soon as someone would leave their pet child home, especially like dogs, and they would hear someone walking in the hallway, they would walk to the door and they would just scratch, and it would become like this really big challenge as we were really working to keep up the aesthetic of the units and the integrity of the units as we continue to move things forward. And so this is a way for you guys to think about how you can help your pets relax. So today we are interviewing Danielle Gray. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Welcome to the Canna-Coin Podcast.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. And Danielle is going to introduce herself and how she is a part of the cannabis industry. So I want you to go ahead with your introduction.
Sure. So there's so many different ways to introduce myself, but what I'll say is,
don't hide any of your dynamicism. Give it all.
Okay.
Drop it all.
Fine. So my name is Danielle Gray. I am the CEO and founder of World of Funoia, which means beautiful thinking, CBD for pets. We actually started with human and pet products, but we found that it was just much easier to communicate to, and as a dog mom, I felt like it was really important to move the pet. So that's what we do. My background is in marketing and content development and strategic consulting kind of stuff. A little producing. I love all of it. Everything that comes together and makes something authentic and real that people can feel from a marketing standpoint. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell, I guess.
Yes. Shout out to Rolling Out. That's how Danielle and I met. We were able to participate in a couple of their panels about cannabis businesses. So I appreciate what you're doing in this space. And what I love about your occupation in this space is you've really carved a lane for pet moms and pet parents. So, I told them before the show that every time I say Danielle's company name, because it's Funoia, I think about the NOLA clap, and do that NOLA clap. Yes, the whole thing, right? So how can we not think about that? So you guys remember that name and remember that clap, because that's Danielle's company. So tell me a little bit about like what inspired you to start a CBD company, and more specifically a pet CBD company.
Yeah, so it really started with my introduction to CBD in the first place. So I was a cannabis advocate, THC all day. I didn't really know much about CBD at all. And I had a pet that had some seizures, and it was someone I previously dated. It was a really weird experience that, excuse me, when we were walking our dog, she just like knocked out.
Wow.
And we were like, what's going on? So we had to rush her to the hospital. She was unresponsive and going through all this stuff. Luckily, she was fine, but then she had all these medications. The medications were, she was zonked out. She was not, she didn't eat. She was barely awake. It was like, what kind of quality of life is that?
Right.
And so I was like, okay, let's look into something other than just the medication. And we looked into CBD and we started it. And I was like, wait. Her appetite is coming back.
Right.
She's more confident. She can walk. Because I think she really lost confidence because she was scared that it was going to happen again. She was having repeatedly having seizures.
Right.
And so we were just like, okay, this CBD thing is kind of interesting. And also interesting to us to think about humans too.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait. It's always interesting that we can't necessarily see the anxiety or different things going on with us. It's very easy for us to see it in our pets.
Yeah.
When you see fireworks, thunderstorms, when new people come through, like you were saying, the scratching, there's so many things that we can see physically, even though humans do the same thing in our own way.
We just cope in a different way.
Yeah, we just have a different, and pets, and particularly dogs, are so specific. Like they don't hide anything. There's not, if they are jealous, they are truly jealous. If they are happy, they're truly happy. So I could really see that. And so that was what inspired the pet line, was to see, I don't think my community and people know in general about what this plant can do, not just for their selves, but for their dogs.
Yeah.
And so I started using it. I have my pet baby, my fur baby. Shout out to Duchess of Funoia. That's my baby.
Duchess of Funoia. Where's that Nola class?
Yeah, I know. She's literally our CBD pet ambassador. But she grew up having CBD in her water.
Yeah.
Especially as we were training her. Dog training is so helpful when, the dog has that ability to calm down, listen. And so I've connected with trainers, different people like that. And we could talk about all of that, but that's really what inspired it. It was like, wow, I'm seeing a immediate difference.
Yeah.
And I don't think other people know. And I was seeing a lot of CBD brands that weren't that great, And so it was like, how can we find quality CBD? How can we connect with our people and also make it fun, And so it was just easy to just kind of start focusing in on dogs in general.
I love it. You know, what I love about it is you mentioned something, and I can only imagine as a pet mom, as you shared that your dog was a little even afraid to walk, and the CBD helped the dog to regain his confidence. And I can only imagine how heart-wrenching that is for you to see the processing of, am I going to be okay? Should I try to do this again? And then to see that confidence increase because the nervous system has been reset and relaxed. I mean, that almost brings me to tears because it's like babies and pets, they can't communicate.
No, they can't.
And so it does depend on the care of a parent to be able to adequately assess, like, this is what's happening, this is what they're processing, and this is what we need to do.
And they never talk, right? So like even at 5, 6, 10 years old, dogs, I always have to be aware, changing food, doing all these different things. You have to just be ultra aware of what's going on. So, I think that being able to really pay attention to my dog, and I want the best for her in all situations, going to the vet, going to the groomers. There's a lot of stress with all of those things. They experience stress just like us. And even when we're experiencing stress, they absorb that stress
because they're
too.
so vibrationally aligned to our frequency.
Yes.
That brings up a good point, because you can tell by the attitude of the pet the attitude of the parent.
Yes.
Right? So if a pet is like super feisty and it's like, oh, okay, so behind closed doors, this is how you really are, right? Because the pet is never going to like shift. So that's so crazy. How was it explaining to the vet that you were planning to introduce CBD to your pet's like regimen?
That's such a great question. So I got two different responses. The first one was we took our dogs to the vet that we always go to, and we were like, hey, we have this CBD that we're trying out. We're excited about it. They were like, I've heard about it. I think it's okay. Let's kind of test it out and see. It wasn't a hard pass.
Right.
Then I kind of pushed. I was like, would you sell it here? They were like, nah, we're not doing all of that.
Really?
Yeah, they were like completely against it. And I was like, okay. So then fast forward, we met this veterinarian. Her name is Dr. Ashley. She is amazing. Shout out to Dr. Ashley. She's at the West End Vet. One of the first Black veterinarians that I came across, especially in Atlanta. It's a really big thing. So I met her at a pop-up because we were doing all these pop-ups, and she was like, I want this in my office.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay. And still to this day, they are selling our CBD pet treats and our tinctures, because she's like, there's certain things that, I don't think this medicine will help, or they don't need all of that.
Exactly.
They don't need that much dosage or whatever the case is. It's like CBD will really help, especially, particularly there's one person she told me about, her dog was like afraid of car rides, could not do car rides at all. Started the CBD regimen with the one in the car. Fine.
Wow.
Same thing for cats too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're focused on dogs because I'm a dog mom, and dog parents are just different, right? But our tinctures in particular are for cats too.
That's
and
awesome.
I mean, because they have the zoomies, they going all over the place too.
Have anxiety.
Exactly.
That is so amazing. So what I love about this entire experience is that you've been able to introduce medical professionals to a new world, because as you mentioned, quality of life is so important. And we hear so many canna nurses talk about how they would much rather administer cannabis-based treatment plans as opposed to prescription-based, chemical-based treatment plans, because the medicines will just completely zap you and it makes you super drained, and no one wants to like think they're taking something to feel better and then they ended up having like less energy or feeling worse. So let's kind of dive into the business side of it.
Yeah, sure.
Because you created a lane.
Yeah.
I am all for women doing their damn thing. Okay. Just so you know, I love this. So when you started the CBD pet brand, what was some of the criticism that you heard, if any, or what was some of the feedback that you heard from just the market as it related to what you were planning to present?
There was a lot of feedback.
Okay.
I'll say most of it was positive.
Okay.
Initially, it was, again, because we had some human products as well. People were like, no, don't take those away. We like those.
Yeah.
But it was a business decision. And I think it's important to kind of talk through the business decision too.
Yeah.
Was that we wanted to help everybody, and it's hard to focus on everybody.
Yeah.
And I know that as a marketer, but I tried it. Right. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, so this does this and this does it. And it was getting
too much of a general store.
Yeah. It was getting way too complex in the messaging.
Yeah.
Our content, like how many people can we touch? These are all different types of people.
Yeah.
And it was getting really, really complicated. So once we decided, and also from a business level of, labels and inventory and all of those things, it was just getting to be a lot. And I had this coach, and I think everybody should have a coach. I think, having a mentor is really important. And he was like, what's your hit record? What's your hit record of these products? And I was like, I don't know. And more what I realized, just doing more pop-ups.
Yeah.
When people walk by, they always saw, oh, they have dogs. Oh, they have dogs. They have dogs. And I'm like, Okay. Also, it took way less energy
'Cause you were
to
already in that
explain the
space.
dogs.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, people immediately understood how CBD helps dogs.
Yeah.
Like it didn't take as much energy. Like, before with humans, I'm like, okay, it does this. It was just easier for me to talk about it. I mean, there was times people just were, oh, I don't need it. I don't need to be sold. I
Yeah.
know I need this.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, that's a thing. And when we completely moved over as far as the feedback, there were people that wanted their tinctures and things, but mostly people were really excited. They were like, oh, I mean, just like what you communicated to me. Oh, that's a lane.
Yeah.
Like when you really can focus in on your content,
Yeah.
on your messaging,
Yeah.
on your marketing, I was like, oh, I can post funny dog videos for like, this is great.
Right.
And not worrying about all the different things. Again, from my background in marketing, understanding I need to have diverse people in it, understanding all these different things. And that really cut it all out
Yeah.
by going the pet route. And it feels very right.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. And it doesn't, not everything has to make all the sense in the world, but it's
Yeah.
really, really important to follow that enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, this feels good. This
Yeah.
feels right. And I'm gonna try.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
this
and
is
so that, and
good.
here we are just doing pets.
We got to break that whole so you guys know I got to break everything that she just said down, because she dropped like 12 gems back to back to back. And I just want to kind of unravel it a bit, because there are people that are watching this episode. This show is all about the Canna-Coin, understanding the vast opportunities that are in this space. And so I want to go back and really dive into your marketing brain, because what she said about identifying the solution that your brand solves, right? What problem does your brand solve? What solution does it present? Instead of her company having a general solution, it decided to become extremely specific by identifying a target audience, so that, because let's talk startups, it costs money to make money. And what that includes is your marketing, your labeling, your packaging, your messaging, even the testing, all of the things. And so when you have to craft and curate these items for your brand, to know that you have a niche, that you've niched down to a specific audience that happens to be a very, very large audience, right? You only have to solve one big problem to hit your millions, right? Like one big problem. And the pet industry is a huge industry. So it's almost like you became smaller to get bigger.
Yes.
Or you became more focused to get bigger.
Yes.
Because it gave you a different pathway to focus on and to really grow without a lot of competition. I don't know if I know of, and I don't need to, any other African-American owned pet CBD brand.
Yeah.
I was just at Doggy World. Shout out to Doggy World in Huntersville. You need to carry her products, because
Please
they
do.
only have 2 products on their shelf in this entire warehouse full of pet items. There are only 2 CBD SKUs in their entire roster.
Yeah.
And so that just goes to show that you definitely made an enlightened decision, right? Following that enthusiasm. That's how you find. A lot of times people think, and I meant to say this yesterday with a previous episode that we recorded. I had a guest, Julian Gordon, a great friend of mine. I've known Julian for over 20 years. And he talked about just instinct. And I say to my husband all the time, some people will follow insights, but I've come from the school where you follow instinct. And that genius thing is normally the thing that lights you up.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talked about the enthusiasm that you felt like doubling down and focusing on the experience of a pet mom and how you get to curate a product line for pets, you get to craft messaging that connects with other pet moms like you, the relevance, the excitement, all of that is the sauce that no one can take.
No one can take it. And I think, to your point, you have to listen to those insights, right?
Yeah.
Like, I understand that, but it's something else that is very hard to describe, of this is where I need to go.
Yeah.
And I think that's understanding yourself as a person.
Yeah.
As a, what moves you, what inspires you. But also it was the insight that in 2020, when we were inside,
Yeah.
pet ownership blew up. because
Wow.
everybody needed a companion. People
Yeah.
wanted a companion.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at this, I'm like, that's interesting. And now they didn't just, there's some people giving their dogs up, but a lot of people aren't.
Right.
This is now this is their family.
Yeah.
And how do I manage now that I'm going back into the world? I'm
Right.
going to this brunch. Okay, like I might be there for a second. I
Right.
probably need to give my dog some CBD. You know, because I'm a big advocate. You have to walk your dog.
Yes.
I don't believe that anybody should just be handing out CBD and not attending to your animal.
Of course.
But, it's making people or helping people through this experience of getting back into life, going back to work.
Yeah.
All of those different things.
Right.
I mean, it's just really helpful. So it was just coming together, and I was like, all right, this is the move. This is what we're going to do.
Thing.
Yeah.
I love that part of it. And, I'm going to dive into more of that cannabis business because we've talked about this in our rolling out sessions, but there are so many back end things that we've had to overcome pioneering this space. Share a little bit about what you've had to endure. What have been some of the biggest challenges since you've launched your brand?
I think there's a lot of them. I think the first thing was initially when we came out, it was like 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really understood it, especially being a Georgia-based brand.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that was CBD that was like, oh, that's that weed stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, first of all of y'all smoke weed. Like, don't even act like that. So that's what started us having events.
Yeah.
And so we did this event called It Ain't Weed to just start educating people the differences. Now, it doesn't mean that weed is bad.
Right.
We love
what we love.
We love it. But there's other ways to enjoy this plant.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that helping people and educating people about how it works. I think as time went on, more people start learning about it, more people talk about it. So that was a thing. I think the big thing for us was branding CBD because CBD was like a brand of itself.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I tried CBD before. I'm like, but you haven't tried my CBD. Like, this is a different, like it could be different. And granted, maybe there's not a huge differences. Like there's so many different.
There are definitely huge differences.
Yeah, right.
Though.
Thank you to confirm that. But and that's the thing. That's what we were facing was, I've tried that before. And people just pushing it away or not knowing how to dose it right.
Right.
Oh, I took a drop. Well, what did you expect to feel from one drop of
right.
250, whatever small milligram that you had? So I think it was a lot of education connected to that, and then branding.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where
marketing.
That's my favorite part. I saw that I wanted to create a brand that was disconnected from the cannabis leaf.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, how do I do this? How do I create something? I look up to the Nikes, the logos that you don't need the name connected to it. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I wanted to create for Funoia was like when you see that diamond, which I developed, I designed. Awesome. I designed our logo. I designed our product labels, all that. So hopefully one day I'm not doing that. But right now, that's what I'm doing. And it's really the portal into this beautiful world.
Okay.
And so the world of Funoia. And so that was the beauty of it. And as we connected it to pets, it's like, you should want to create that world for your pets.
Yeah.
They deserve a beautiful world too.
Yeah.
They're experiencing stress too. They're experiencing all those things. So how can we, communicate that in a way that doesn't feel as scary as saying weed or seeing that leaf or all of those things, especially again, I'm Southern, so I'm like, we're going to keep it cute, and it was easy for me to communicate those things in introducing them to it. And then they were like, oh, that's all that was?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. And you see how helpful that is? Now we can talk. Chill out,
That's so awesome. It's so great because your brand aesthetic is so valuable to really making sure that when it shows up in the marketplace, it's something that is distinguishable and people can recognize it, and it has that anchoring quality to build community or attract community around it. So kudos to you guys for
Thank
having
you.
that. As a marketing professional, how is marketing CBD different than marketing any other product that you've had to market for clients or any other previous ventures?
I think the big difference is the education part,
Yeah.
and the people think so many different things about cannabis. There's all these preconceived notions about
Right.
it. So it's really breaking through all of that. There was a time, I'm working in corporate. I had, corporate clients, and I was concerned about saying that I had a CBD company.
Right.
I was like, I don't want them to not
To judge you.
yeah, to judge that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come out the closet.
Right.
Know?
And that came to my
again,
mind as soon as you said that.
Yeah, because that's really what it was, and I know what that experience is in my life in general. I want to always live my truth.
Yeah.
And not be in anybody's closet.
Correct.
And so when I felt that energy come back up, I said, okay, this is what has to happen. And what I learned from that was people just wanted my sauce, my magic.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Like, I mean, some people are like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm like, relax.
Yeah.
First of all, take this gummy.
Right, right. Your
like,
alcohol is more damaging, I promise.
Listen.
Yeah.
And so all that being said, like, that was the big differences was the having to break down all the stereotypes and different things like that. And, I wasn't able to run ads. I wasn't able to really talk about things. People, didn't want to carry us in stores initially because it's like, well, I don't know about that. So I do want to shout out to Dr. Lakeisha Hallman, who is the owner of the Village Market at Ponce City Market. In 2020, she opened this store literally in the middle of the pandemic, and it carries, I think, about 30 Black-owned businesses inside.
Okay.
And she said, I want you all in it.
That's awesome.
Like, wow. Okay, so CBD at Ponce City Market, which is a huge location here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And she said, no, I fought for you. These people, they were like, oh, I don't know about CBD. I don't know about CBD. She said, no, this is legal.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
They are lab tested.
Yeah.
There's no reason why other than what your thoughts are about it. And with that, we were able to grow our brand so much. More people were exposed to our brand. It was amazing, truly.
I love what you just said. So talk a little bit more about how you guys have navigated or how you've navigated social media. How have you navigated connecting using digital marketing, your brand to an audience with the restrictions that come because of being a cannabis business?
Yeah, I think so. Building community is the most important thing I've learned. And I think that that's what you're creating here is building that community. And so I think there's a way to do that digitally and in person.
Yes.
So we were doing both. So digitally, it's like, I want to make sure I'm solving problems. And like when I was starting out, I was like, okay, when I write a blog, it's going to be how CBD can help your dog. But it was always involving CBD. And I was like, that's not what people are looking for, though. They want to know how to help their dog prepare for a flight.
Right.
How to stop them from barking all the time in their apartment complex because they're about to get kicked out.
Right.
Those are the real issues. So then I was like in problem solving mode. Okay, this is what they're dealing with. Let me also address all the different ways to help. And also CBD helps with those things.
Yeah.
So when I was able to kind of start using it as a solution, the community started to build and people understood it. Also digitally, we connected with people that have an audience in dogs. So recently I did an IG live with it's the girl who speaks dog. She's awesome. Her name is Kayla.
Okay.
And she does all dog content. She trains dogs. And so we ended up giving her some CBD to try out. She was like, oh my gosh, I love this brand. This is amazing. And so she really started telling all her clients about us.
Awesome.
Everything. And then this was not like an influencer package. She just was like, I support you. And I think this is amazing that you are woman-led, Black woman-led, LGBTQ plus
Yes.
led. It was just a really important thing for us to be seen in that space, especially giving a quality product. So we had discussions about it. So that was the other tactic, was let me connect with people that are complementary to
Yes.
what we do. So that's dog trainers, that's vets,
Yeah.
that's groomers, that, and so that was really how we did that. And then on the other side was, how do we connect with people in person?
Right.
We started doing these pack walks. And pack walk is, come bring your dog. Let's all relax and chill and go on a nature preserve. And I think that's important for our community, especially, I didn't really grow up going to the park like that. I mean,
Right.
I played basketball. I didn't really go to a park just to go to a park.
Right.
To like
Enjoy
just
nature.
frolic. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that wasn't my experience. So I think that that's something too, to find like-minded people
Yeah.
that want to enjoy themselves. They can bring their dog. We had people that did not have dogs that also came, because I'm like, I just want to be around all of this. They had CBD gummies. The dogs had CBD treats. It was a pleasant walk, because all these new dogs, some dogs have a lot of anxiety about that. So we're like, hey, here's a treat. And that was another way that we could not only create community, but show how this works. And we had time with them on this walk if there was any questions that came up. And also they saw it actually happening. Wow, that was at the beginning of this walk. My dog was crazy. Now he's chill, hanging out with this dog.
It's
and
like
so
that proof.
It was the proof.
Yeah.
And that was the beauty of it. So, we're growing. I'm always exploring how to make this better and how to communicate better. But that's really, what I'm doing. And it's over time. And I think that that's an important thing to note, is that this community building does not happen overnight.
Yeah.
Like for it to be authentic and for it to be real, it takes time.
And it takes your presence.
Yes.
It takes your presence. And I love how you bring the dogs and the dog parents together, and you can go enjoy the park, and parents have their CBD, dogs have their CBD. I think that that's such a great way. It's almost like a focus group that's not a focus group, right? Because you're bringing people together and you're showing the proof, which is what everyone loves to see.
And you're creating loyalty.
Yes.
And that's loyalty. There's loyalty, and then there's ambassadors.
Yes.
So now they want to tell all their friends about how this works. So that's how it becomes really helpful to the overall business in general.
A couple of things I want to bring out. So first of all, Tucker Budson, because my husband loves Tucker. And so Tucker Budson, I think that you guys need some Funoia.
Funoia.
Because do you know who Tucker is? Tucker is the most popular dog on Instagram.
Okay.
He probably has millions of followers.
That's wild.
He is the cutest dog ever. And Tucker is always doing something crazy. So I think that Funoia and Tucker, I feel and sense some things.
And that's the cool part about the dog Instagrams, is that there's humans behind it. And so like, I am so down. And that's actually another thing, is to start getting out to these dog influencers.
Yes,
it's
they are really,
it's a real thing.
Seriously.
I mean, she was like, yeah, I got like 25K. I'm like, for your dog? Like, and so that's something, thank you for bringing that up, because I think that's another lane to start sending out products to these very popular dogs.
Yes, Tucker Budson. I'm putting it out in the universe.
Yes,
we want Tucker and Funoia to connect.
Yes,
we want that to happen.
received.
And I want to talk about a little bit more diving into brand building, because you talked about the customer, the loyalty in the community building, and in the world that we're in, because we are actively doing what's necessary to build business capital, because growing a cannabis business, guys, is very expensive. Let's just be honest. It requires going different routes, sometimes creating different flows, working with unique banks, working with unique processors, paying higher processing fees, because we're a high risk business. Yeah. We're going to drop the real shit today, right?
No,
so
real.
With that said, you mentioned the repeat, they come back, the loyalty. In business, especially, I've, participated in a number of like grant pitch competitions, et cetera. One of the questions that they always ask is like, what is your customer retention like? And then how frequently do your customers come back, so that you can get a true lifetime value of one customer. And I think that what you've highlighted through the pet walks and the community building is that you've been able to elongate your customer lifetime value because you've anchored them to activities and events. These are all of the things that we talk about in the CBDpreneur Academy. Quick plug, because we definitely love what we've been able to build and helping brands launch, because these are the things they need to know.
Yes.
When you go and get a business loan, or when you go and you want to get business capital, they don't want to just hear that you have a great idea. If there's traction, they want to understand the stickiness of the traction. And I think that the nugget that you dropped about being attentive to the community and being patient with community building, the long-term benefit is that you get to have this, I don't know, it's like this repeatable cycle with your business where, you know, every month they're going to need their pet treats.
Yeah.
Every month they're going to want to come to the dog walk every month, and it's going to create more momentum for your business that helps it grow.
Yeah.
So I think that's so awesome.
Thank you.
So shout out to all of those. I'm telling you, she dropped so many gems. I have to remember them and come back because she's giving it to us. So tell us a little bit about, given the regulatory complexities, especially for animals, how do you work to ensure that your products are compliant, and how do you share that compliance with your customers?
So I think, especially as a dog owner and a hardcore dog mom, it is very important that I know what's going, like what I'm giving my dog.
Okay.
And how it reacts to everything. So having that in mind, I am the customer. So I make sure that everything that I would want to see, that they can see. So that is lab testing. That is also partnering with the right manufacturers.
That's right.
And that's really the thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't make my CB, like I'm not in the kitchen creating these treats. That's not sustainable for me.
Right.
So how can I work with that? That's really, it's having a conversation with my manufacturer, understanding that they are going along with all the guidelines, because there are some that are skipping steps.
Yeah.
And so being clear about that and feeling good about what they are doing, so that when I get my product and I get it tested again on my own,
that's right,
and packaging it, feeling good about it, then I feel good. Oh, I give my dog, here, have a treat, because it's comfortable for me. And I think that even in the marketing and when I'm sharing it, dog parents really respect, like, oh, she really love her dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, no, I'm not going to put my dog at risk. So I'm definitely not going to put your dog at risk either. And so I think that that's really the trick.
Yeah, no, everything she said, when she talks about lab testing, what we call it in the industry are certificate of analysis. Every manufacturer, as WH Farms, as a manufacturer, we provide a COA with all of our products. As a client, brands have their own COAs. Sometimes you can have your own lab double test, which is very important for potency, to trace for various materials, etc. But what's so exciting about that is you understand that it's important to choose clean practices so that then you can further sell them to your clients and know that they can trust what you deem appropriate for pets. So I think that's so you are truly the brand. You are the pet mom.
That.
You are truly the brand, because
yeah.
it's like moms are the decision makers in the home. Moms are the people who kind of like, you got to pass the mom test in order for my child to get it, in order for my pet to get it. So I love that that is something that you embrace as a part of your brand voice and messaging when you're talking to your customers.
And recognizing that, again, I think being a good business owner is being aware of what you do and how you move.
Yeah.
My truth is that I buy my dog something before I buy something for myself.
Right.
That's my truth.
Right.
And so I recognize as a business owner, that's a good lane for me to be in.
Yeah.
And that, there are economic issues going on that is hard to really know what happens next.
Yeah.
But I think that that's why it was so important for me to have something a little bit recession proof.
Yeah.
And something that I'm paying attention to those things. And that was a part of the reasons why.
With great profit margins, might I add, because now one thing I have learned about the difference between body care and pet products is that pet owners will blow a bag.
No problem.
No problem.
Look, I just spent $100 in the pet. So I'm like, what did I even get? So, she was sniffing this, and it can happen quickly, but also it brings us joy.
Yes.
It brings me joy, it brings my dog joy, and we all happy.
Yeah.
Beautiful world. And that's really what it comes down to. Everybody deserves that. That is, and we can be empowered to create that on our own. I feel like sometimes we feel like we need to do something or grab something else. And truly, there is our inner world that we can work through that will produce into our outer world.
That's right. That's right. So listen, if you have a pet, if you know somebody with a pet,
Everybody knows somebody.
It doesn't matter where you are because hemp-based CBD brands ship nationwide.
Yeah.
So the World of Funoia can ship if you are in Nebraska and you are listening to this podcast. Please tell them where they can find your products, how they can follow you on social, how can they keep up with your brand and become a part of your audience of community of customers.
For sure. So you can follow us at World of Funoia. That is WORLDOFUNOIA. That's us on Instagram. And then same for our website, /pets, if you want to go directly to learn more. We have videos about how to do dosage. We have all of that stuff and a lot of funny dog videos because I'm here for the funny dog videos. Personally, you can follow me. My name is Danielle Gray, MBA, DanielleGray.MBA on Instagram. So, I mean, you know, I'm all about good vibes and good business and a good life.
Thank you so much for being my guest today. You know, we have some goodies for you. This is from WH Farms. We have some pet mom items.
Yes.
So that you can have what you need for your anxiety or any of the stress that comes with building this business, because you are going to just totally, 5 years from now, I can't wait.
I can't wait.
I'm excited. So first of all, guys, if you didn't know about pets and CBD, today you should be fully aware of how much your pets may need to learn more about how CBD benefits them. As Danielle said, her products are not just for dogs, although we talked a lot about dogs today. They're for cats and other pets as well. So please make sure you check out her site, follow her on social. And I just want to say thank you for tuning in to the Canna-Coin Podcast with Nicole. If you found something in this video that you like the video, comment below, share it with your family and friends. And most importantly, follow me on Instagram at Nicole McNair, and you know that WH Farms is available in case you are interested in white labeling or getting into the industry. Go to our website at www.whfarms.co. Learn about our academy if you have a can of curiosity about business, or if you're interested in jumping in and developing a product line. We definitely are manufacturers who care. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.